So let's just look at some of the benefits of Office 365. You have increased team productivity and efficiency. James will demonstrate some of this while showing you the collaboration features. You have mobile access to shared work, so smartphone you can access this shared work. There's synchronized information across devices, so if you have it installed on multiple devices or you're using the browser, you're going to get that exact same information across all those devices. There's the ability to share and communicate with team members, and this is one of the things James will go into it with more detail, but yeah, it's a very good feature there. Is using business intelligence for top trends and insights, so that's Power BI to give you those top trends and insights. I think there was quite a number of people that were coming from the finance side who were dialing into this. So reduce operational costs will be something they'll certainly be interested in. It certainly simplifies the management of systems. You'd ask, why would you ever have the likes of Exchange server or SharePoint servers on site with all the management that goes with them when you can have all these features on tap through this subscription. When you have Office 365, you'll always have the latest version and updates of that product. So now what I'll do is I'll pass you on to my colleague James now, who demonstrates some of the collaboration features available on Office 365. Thank you.
Okay, so where we're going to start with is some of the new features in Office 365, and all of these features are predominantly online only. So I'll pop through a few PowerPoints and actually dip into products. So the first one we're going to talk around is Microsoft Groups. So classically, even up to 5 years ago, if you wanted to have a shared calendar, a shared diary, and a little space to work on a particular project, you'd have to kind of put a request into IT, somebody would have to create you a mailbox, somebody would have to create you a document repository and maybe a file store. And nowadays, all of that simplicity has been taken away. With a single click, any user with the relevant permissions can now create a brand new shared working space with its own unique email address and real-time create a shared calendar, a shared document repository, and all the associated elements that go with it. And then in addition to that, whilst we're creating it, it also will dynamically create a planning workspace. So best way to think of Planner is a very, very, very dumbed down version of Microsoft Project. So it's not Project Online, but it's got the ability of managing tasks, managing the processes, and the kind of actions that need to take place to complete an element of work. So really useful in that sense. So what I'm going to do now is just dip into some products and kind of show you this in real life. So what I've got here is some of this information set up. So I'm going to start by going into my mailbox. So I'm using Outlook Online today purely because I've got a few things open, so it's a little bit easier. But all the things I'm showing you are perfectly valid within the standard FAT client for Outlook. So you'll notice in my mailbox now I've got all my normal folders, but I've also got a whole series of groups here. And if I wanted to, I could click plus and just create a brand new group to collaborate with people. So I'm going to start with my Future of the Cloud group, because this is a group I've been working on with a few colleagues. And what you'll see here instantly is we've now, by going to this group, the very first thing I'm presented with is a shared mailbox. So this is the email where people have emailed into the group. And you'll notice along the top now, I've got all of this collaboration options available to me. So for example, if I went to calendar, I'm now going to be presented with a shared calendar of everybody. So I've got 7 members in this group, if you notice at the top of the screen. Everybody within this group, what they're doing, and I've also optionally enabled a few kind of holiday calendars as well. Because if I'm going to be booking meetings, booking schedulings, I want to know if my employees in different parts of the geographical world have also got limitations for they can't do the day. So just show you how all this works. So I'm going to come in here in my shared calendar now, inside of Office 365. I can come in here, create a normal calendar appointment as we go. But some of the nice features we've got now in Office 365 is in-context writing. So if I say new meeting with, and if I use the @ symbol, what you'll notice now is I can actually start looking through the address book as I'm typing and bring people into the conversation. So by me typing new meeting with @Gino, I can now pick Gino as a record, and Gino is automatically associated to the attendee. So I can basically write what the meeting's about and maintain the attendee list in a single click. And then we can do as many of these apps as we want, link them to it. You also notice we've got like a global one there, so we can kind of globally send a mass meeting out of one. And also now within this environment, because this is all Office 365 online, we natively get Skype integration. So this is all really simple, single click, and that's going to provision a brand new Skype meeting for everybody to attend. And it's changed the subject to online meeting, and as I hit save, it's going to automatically email these two and check the relevant free space and do everything for us. I'll just make sure it's in the future, otherwise people will get annoyed. There we go. So little simple things like using the @ symbol in the message body really kind of helps. And it means now if I send that meeting invite, we've now appeared in my shared calendar, and it's also going to appear in Gino's calendar and John's calendar. But that's kind of basic low-level stuff that we've probably had for a few years now. But where we really start getting clever with in groups is we can now have shared file repositories, for example. So if I go to files for my particular group here, it's automatically provisioned me a SharePoint folder structure for this file to sit in. It's automatically provisioned me a OneNote working space for me to see and have a chat with colleagues about. So all of the Microsoft stack starts getting brought together at this point. So products stop being singular products in their own right and start being unified together into a single space. So in here we could be doing meeting notes, we could be doing process reviews, all possible because the shared calendar is automatically bringing it all together for me. So always in a single view. And we've got as many other things here, we can add additional connectors in here as we go. So it basically federates all of the Microsoft services together for people to use. So what we'll do now is also against my group, I've enabled a planner. So if I come in here and do planner, this is going to take me into the Microsoft Planner application. And again, you'll see now I've got a planning tasks for my group of the future of the cloud. So in here you see we've got a nice linear chart. We can create new appointments, we can assign appointments to people, and it's all very easy to use. So literally single click in here. I can quickly come in here, add some content. Optionally, I could do an assignment, say who needs to look at it, and add the task. And just by me doing single clicks in here, that's now going to notify Faye that what she needs to do. That's going to automatically appear in her copy of Outlook and distribute out. And if I wanted to, I could add some more content on here. Maybe I could do a series of checklists, maybe give her a due date. So if I wanted Faye to look at this by the 31st and maybe have some tasks within a task. So literally I could come in here and say if she wants, I want to approve the wording, I want her to approve the logos, and we could quickly come in here, and now when Faye goes into that, she'll have a series of tasks to approve as well. So we can create a whole kind of nice linear gated project approval. So if I come in here and see that, so now Faye's done one of her 2 elements of that tasks. If I look at my charts, we'll now have complete reporting in terms of everything that's going on, what tasks are outstanding, who's doing what. So it's quite a nice collaboration space of everything we could potentially be doing on a particular project. So it's kind of extended and pulling together all of the Microsoft stack into a nice simple place. So that was a very, very brief overview of those products. So what I'm going to do now is just dip back to my PowerPoints and discuss just a little more, because obviously what I was just showing you was groups, with Planner. They're all leveraging SharePoint behind the scenes. So SharePoint had a troubled start in life where it was a great technology, but nobody could quite work out what to use it for. Now with the kind of concept of Planner and everything else coming in and automatic distribution of this content and these sites being created, SharePoint becomes a far more usable beast because everything's provisioned, done, set up, ready for the user to go. Before it was almost like an empty site that somebody in IT had to work out how to leverage. Now with the new technology stacks, it means that we've got the ability of really utilizing SharePoint to its full breadth. So obviously classic SharePoint as we know it, but it means now that SharePoint, if I wanted to, I could provision multiple sites, multiple team sites. And in terms of a space, if we're not using it for document storage, it's also a great use for team collaboration, kind of HR portals and all the other relevant bits within it. But one of the other key benefits is primary key benefit really is the document storage element. So for anybody that's still storing documents in a file system on a server somewhere, you're basically down to a single copy of the document, no concept of check-in, check-out, where as soon as we pop into the world of SharePoint, every single document will get a complete version history, the ability to check out so nobody can edit it, the ability to maybe subscribe to a document, maybe alert me if someone changes something. So all these sort of nice things where now we can have business process flows, workflows around documents approval, all come natively within the SharePoint environment. So it really is a nice toolkit for developing and maintaining where adhering to standard policies within the business. And just been having that whole version history. So you've been working on a document for a period of months, been able to go at any point, go into version history and see that John changed it 6 weeks ago, Barry changed it 3 weeks ago, and go back to the individual versions and know what's changed. It means you're really starting to see the power of the Office suite and the kind of architecture of SharePoint being brought into one. Okay. So just on to the next bit now. So obviously we talked about groups, Planner and SharePoint. So the latest toy in the kind of a Microsoft stack now is now Microsoft Teams. So the best way to think of Teams is it's basically a competitor for Slack. So effectively it's taking Microsoft Groups, SharePoint, Planner, Exchange, and overlaying the kind of interaction layer of chats, of collaboration, of interaction with people within small groups. So it's giving kind of where Skype for Business is very much a point-to-point. I'm going to talk to John about an issue. This is more of I just want to put it out there as a message and let people respond to me. So for example, I'm just going to drop into a particular team site. So if I now go into my team site here, so whenever we create a group now in Dynamics with the option of also creating a team site. So what you notice here is Teams at its basic level is the ability to chat and communicate with people within that group and notify people within that group. So for example here I could do hi, so I've got a message, hi, and again all the in context information. I could be messaging people so they know I've just talked about them. And it becomes a global kind of threaded process of people replying, people chatting, people dipping in, dipping out. But again, you'll notice a common interface now where we can pull in lots of data into one area. So the future of the cloud for me is a new website project we're working on. But you'll notice at the top here, I've pulled in lots and lots of information. So for example here, directly from my chat window, I haven't then got to work out what other products to open to get back to the data. So if I want to see the SharePoint site that's already been created as part of the group, it's there for me to see. If I wanted to see a Power BI dashboard of what's going on with the current website, what the website traffic is like, everything can be fully embedded into a single place. So that's Google Analytics data coming straight into Power BI and then straight into Microsoft Teams. So being able to glue it all together into a single point makes it really, really powerful because we're not having to teach people, oh, this bit of the system's over here, this bit of the system's over here. You're not managing 15 different URLs. You're managing, just go to the team site. We can stick all the tabs in here of what you need to access. And then going forward, we can also collaborate and link with other things. So the whole ecosystem of Microsoft Teams has been built to support lots of third-party products. And this list is only going to grow. So if we were doing a .NET development project, we could integrate Visual Studio straight into it. If we had a third-party contractor that preferred Smartsheets rather than SharePoint, we could integrate Smart Sheets, and we can start seeing how we can nicely expand this and start using this as an ability to glue lots of technologies together into a single place, so people can self-serve and understand everything they need to do and what's available to them. There's not kind of the scenario of where do I look? Doing it all in one place makes everything more usable to you. And you notice here that these are all my different team sites, and they could all have different looks, different feels going forward. And also we've got the whole concept of chat as well, so there's lots of different ways we can do this. Also within team sites, Microsoft has started with the gimmicks, admittedly, but we now have the concept of bots. So effectively you can ask questions of AI-related processes. So for example here, within a team site, we could ask the Tube bot if there's any issues. So if I'm about to leave a specific client meeting, you could ask a bot if there's any issues on the train. I could ask HitMonkey how to book a flight plans. These bots, even though they're kind of comical and a bit kind of a jokey at the moment, in a couple of years' time, they're going to be very, very relevant. And a lot of charities and publics and big businesses are looking at creating bots that people can interact with. And if we're dealing with the youth of today, they're far happier going onto a Facebook Messenger or a Snapchat and interacting with a bot and asking a computer a question. So these are only going to grow and improve over time. Okay, so back to the PowerPoint. So that was Teams, and now the next area, obviously I've just loaded the Power BI dashboard. So the other key element of Office 365 is you get Power BI Pro in the E5 license that Joe was previously talking about, but you also got Power BI Free in the E1 and E3 licenses. So the best way to think of a Power BI is basically it's a much stronger version of Excel reporting, but the ability of dynamically bringing in data from lots and lots of sources and overlaying it together, where 5 years ago we would have been doing high-end integrations to pull all data into a data warehouse, then manipulate it, or maybe have to real-time integrate the systems to show nice overlaid reportings. Now with Power BI, we can actually do all of our reporting and all of our overlaying analysis within Power BI rather than ever linking the systems directly together. So for example here, if I went back to my Google Analytics dashboard, this is real-time pulling information out of Google's cloud backend in terms of how my website's doing, how people are interacting with it. I've also got one here that's real-time pulling in contact data out of a CRM system that have ran a race for me and overlaying a data set from the Office of National Statistics website. So being able to overlay multiple data sets for profiling and scoring makes it a really powerful product. So if I dip into this a little bit more detail, for example, if I went to my Google Analytics report on my website, you'll notice here that the analytics on my website is saying most people only stay on my website for just under 2 minutes. But the nice thing with Power BI is everything interacts with everything else. If I clicked on my Sunday, for example, I'll suddenly realise that on a Sunday they spend that amount of time on the website. On a Wednesday, they're far more engaged. So it probably means that most of my work, people accessing my site are probably business-based people, and the Sundays are just an accident. If I also look at like system usage, for example, it becomes really nice and powerful, so I can see people coming in from all over the globe, where they're coming from. Being able to filter that, especially if I'm designing something new and looking, okay, so I've got a few people using Amazon Silk as a browser, whatever that is. So if I look at that, I can suddenly say, actually, there's only one person in the north of England, so if I'm making my website look pretty, do I need to worry about that particular person? Or it could be the other end, if I'm looking at people using Unix. There we go, so there's a couple of people in the UK, and I've got a couple of Russians that I probably don't really care about, because at the end of the day, my business is European focused, therefore that's not going to affect me and what I want to do. And we can pull in lots of data in here. So that was obviously web analytics. This could be ERP data. So this could be a really nice, powerful dashboard of how my sales are doing in Europe, how they're doing in North America, where the key information is, in a nice pictorial fashion. And the ability to slice and dice and play with this all and have visibility makes it a really powerful tool in terms of analysing data. And what we can do is this is, again, Microsoft embracing technology far more than they ever have, where classically 5 years ago, if it wasn't in a SQL database, Microsoft didn't really care. Nowadays, Power BI gives you the option of talking to lots of different providers. It's not just Microsoft centric. It could be Adobe data, it could be Salesforce data, it could be lots of different systems, and this ecosystem's growing all the time. So it's gone from being a Microsoft reporting tool to a reporting tool that can consume data from lots of different places all over the internet. And that's the way the whole stack's going in terms of usability, to make sure we've got that way of replicating and looking at data from all the different sources. So what I'm going to do is now send it back to our PowerPoint. So a bit of a slightly geekier area now, because obviously I've shown you how we can have all of this data in the lovely Microsoft cloud and how it can all be consumed in terms of SharePoint, Outlook, tasks, appointments, meetings. It could be dynamic CRM data, it could be ERP data, all over the place. Obviously, some IT managers won't really have the nice warm fuzzy feeling of it all used to be on my LAN, I've got control over it. Now it's all in somebody else's cloud. But in effect, because it all is in the same cloud from Microsoft, we can now completely audit that whole cloud platform in a single click. So just to put this as an example now, if I go back into here and go to my Office 365 admin area. So in here, Office 365, you'll notice I've got a whole series of things available to me as administrator. And one of them is security and compliance, which I've already got open on one of these tabs here. There we go. And what you notice here is we've got complete control of our data. I could define data loss preventions. I could provide data governance preventions. But one of the most useful features is the security and investigation preferencing. So obviously with the GDPR regulations that are coming in 2018, in terms of knowing what data you hold against people, where it is, this is becoming really powerful. So effectively here, I could define a search for a keyword, an email address, text within my whole estate, and this is going to dynamically search absolutely everything that I have within the cloud. So if you're looking here, if I look at my preview results and my search for Ethel, so I did this earlier. Generally a search takes a minute or two to generate, so obviously it must have gone secure on me and logged me out in the middle of my demo. Give me just a second. We'll just let this load the results up. And what we can do now is that it's going to give me a detailed report of every time that word was ever mentioned anywhere within my estate. So whether this was emails, SharePoint, Word documents, Excel documents, anything that's indexable, it's going to trawl, look within inside it, and find that data. So it's just loading up now. So I'll just wait for this to load a minute. It's building quite a detailed report of. Here we go. So you'll notice now that throughout my whole estate, it's found emails, it's found tasks, it's found documents that where somebody has written the word Ethel within it. So we can start quickly looking and also look at the contents of this. So somewhere in here I would have had, there you go, Ethel's been mentioned somewhere in the body of that document. This could have been an email we sent out. It could have been a calendar appointment. So we've now got the ability of completely scanning our entire estate in a single click and finding this sort of level of information. So imagine if you something had gone wrong with contract negotiations and they're insisting a salesperson said something at one moment in time, being able to search the whole estate and actually prove, did we say that, did we not say that? It's got that nice thing, because obviously Exchange is retaining emails even when they're deleted, so it can be searching historical information as well. So we've got that flexibility there of being able to just trawl the whole thing and see what's going on. So this tool's great for it's probably bolting the door bolting the stable door once the horse has gone. But what we've also got within the Office 365 stack to cover all the factor data in the cloud is our data loss prevention policies as well. So this is where if we want to, over time we can actually build policies of what data is allowed to leave our business. So for example, if you had an accountancy system where you are holding people's bank accounts and sort codes. We could define a data loss policy that scanned every outbound correspondence for a pattern of sort code and bank code and block that file going out real time. So we've got the ability now of watching for staff accidentally emailing out personalized data or accidentally trying to upload out personalized data. So we can do that quite nicely, and also we could also do device management as well. So, and this isn't just Windows devices, this is the whole piece. So effectively, as part of the Office 365 stack now, we could apply policies, do device control, wipe your corporate data off devices. So it really kind of starts bringing together the whole benefit of Office 365, where a lot of these more complicated rings around security prevention, data loss, mobile device control on a LAN-based deployment would be very, very difficult. Within this space, because it's all permanently online within the cloud, it means these toys become far easier to deploy, far easier to use and leverage for you as an organization. So just back to my PowerPoint for 1 second. So, okay, well, that was my last slide on the deck. So I don't think I've had any questions during the chat because I haven't been looking at the question window. But if you do have any questions, we will leave the session open for a few minutes or so, and then I'll gladly respond to them. So thank you for watching today. I'll put myself on mute now, but if you have any questions at all, please just pop them in the window and we'll get straight back to you. Thanks. Bye.